geeks, welcome to another video. So the topic for today's video is the isolation and detection of the foodborne pathogen E. coli O157H7. As we all know, it is a very fatal foodborne pathogen that causes traveler's diarrhea, or this particular strain is also called as the EHEC, that is enterohemorrhagic E. coli. So how to detect these? Firstly, in the food sample, these organisms are present in quite a low number. So first step we need to do is enrich it. Enrichment is done using the EEB broth followed by isolation on the SMAC. This is the first method. The second method is a two-in-one wherein we can detect coliforms as well as specifically the E. coli O157H7. And it involves three steps. First is the pre-enrichment using the TSYE medium, followed by isolation on the EMB, that is Eosin Methylene blue agar, and the confirmation of the E. coli O157H7 using the coli complete disc. So let's get into it. Firstly, the enrichment using EEB broth. Now, this particular broth selects for those organisms in the food that are bile tolerant and gram negative. How do you prepare your sample? Take 25 grams of the food sample and add it to 225 ml of EEB and incubate it at 37 degrees Celsius for 24 hours. Now, this broth has certain constituents that makes it quite specific for these cells. So first set of selective agents are the bile, brilliant green and bile. So bile is tolerated only by coliforms and brilliant green would inhibit the growth of any gram-positive organisms. A set of antibiotics, that is cefixime, cefsulodine and vancomycin are used. The E. coli O157H7 strains are resistant to these antibiotics and thus the other gram-negative and gram-positive organisms will not be able to grow. Other essential nutrients for growth are included, that is gelatin peptone and glucose monohydrate. And to keep the medium at a particular pH, you have these buffering agents. After the enrichment, we have to go for the isolation. So it uses a special modification of a Conkey agar, that is addition of this fermentable sugar called as Sorbital. Now for what is Conkey agar used? Perfect, you got it right. It is used for the differentiating between the lactose fermenters and the non-fermenters. Now let's see what are the major components of this SMAC. First, sorbitol, second, neutral red, and third, crystal violet and bile salts. Now what is the purpose of sorbitol? So those organisms that ferment sorbitol will produce an acid which will make the medium acidic and cause the change in the color of the indicator to pink. So as you can see on this medium, there are these pink colonies. These are those of the fermenters. The non-fermenters would not produce any acid and hence their colonies will appear colorless. Now, our E. coli O15H7 are unable to ferment sorbitol. So therefore, their colonies appear colorless, whereas the regular E. coli are able to ferment sorbitol and will appear pink in color. Neutral red, as we know, in the acidic medium, it gives you a pink color, and in the neutral or the basic medium, you get a colorless colony. Crystal violet and bile salts, again, are selective agents that inhibit the growth of the gram-positive bacteria. Next is the two-in-one method, as I was telling you. First step of that method is the enrichment. So we use the TSYE medium, that is the tryptone soya extract agar, and these medium are used to revive the injured cells. So what do they constitute of? The sole source of carbon and energy in this is dextrose. The nitrogen is provided by casein enzyme hydrolysate and peptide digest of soybean. Yeast extract provides the vitamin B complex. Followed by enrichment, the next step is the isolation that is done on the Eosin Methylene blue agar. The ratio of the two stains eosin and methylene blue is maintained at 6:1. The sole source of carbon in this medium is lactose. Now, what is the function of this eosin and methylene blue? They act both as an inhibitor and a differential indicator. How an inhibitor? It would inhibit the growth of the gram-positive bacteria. Now, how is it differential? So those organisms that are able to utilize lactose will produce acid that will cause a drop in the pH. Now this pH drop causes the colonies to take up this eosin methylene blue agar dye complex. Thus, these colonies would appear purple black with a metallic green sheen. The metallic sheen is because of the rapid uptake of lactose and degradation of and production of the acid in the medium. So as you can see, the B figure is the positive cells. Next, the lactose non-fermenters. So the lactose non-fermenters will cause the oxidative deamination of protein, and thus it raises the pH, which will solubilize the complex, and therefore these colonies appear colorless, that is, they do not take up any dye. So how do we select our E. coli cells? So basically those that will show you purple colonies with a green sheen are those of E. coli. Now we have enriched our cells and we have isolated our E. coli. Now the time to differentiate. And how is this differentiation possible? By using this Coli complete disc. Now the Coli complete disc works on this principle. E. coli and the other coliforms, they produce this enzyme beta-glucuronidase. Now beta-glucuronidase reacts with MUG, that is 4-methyl umbelliferyl beta-D-glucuronide, and produce this fluorescent compound that you can observe at 365 nanometer under UV light. The second one is the E.coli O15787. Now these particular cells produce the enzyme beta-galactosidase. Beta-galactosidase reacts with X-gal, that is 5-bromo-4-chloro-3-indonyl beta-D-galactopyranoside, and will give you an insoluble blue dye. So your E. coli O157 can only produce beta-galactosidase. So it will produce a blue insoluble dye, and you can select those colonies. So basically your Coli complete disc has two substrates. One is MUG and one is X-gal. These two substrates will help you to distinguish between E. coli cells and E. coli O157H7. So that's all for today's video, and if you like it, please share it with your friends and subscribe to my channel.